Did you hear rumblings or anything, or are
No.
you surprised by this?
Shocked. I think it's kind of hard to be shocked by anything these days and
Right.
the times we're in, but
Right.
this was shocking to me. Really stunning. He did not exhibit, any semblance of pain or any problems during spring training.
And according to Olczyk, he was complaining for a while, I guess, behind the scenes.
Well, apparently behind
Yeah.
the scenes he must have been,
Yeah.
not to us,
Yeah.
and because he threw well this spring. He actually, I think he ended up with 11 strikeouts over 8 innings. He didn't walk a batter, which has been a problem for him in the past. He threw well on his side sessions. He threw once on the backfield as well. Threw well then. Anytime that we saw him, he was fine, and he's never said there were no problems. I don't think we even brought up the question of whether he had any pain because, he never exhibited that, not even in warm-up sessions and bullpen sessions. So it certainly was a shock to us. That's for sure.
All right, Eddie. What does that mean now? As far as now they have obviously candidates. We know who that. There's
Right.
they have Matz, who we wondered whether he was going to be in the rotation. Although I thought he would be. You
Yep,
have
me too.
Lugo. You have Lugo. Do you just slide Lugo into the rotation?
No, you put Walker in there, I think, and you leave Lugo in the bullpen.
Oh, okay.
That's what I think they'll do.
Okay.
Because they had 6 into 5.
Lugo wants
basically.
to start, though, doesn't he?
He does. There's no question he does. But here's the other thing, Mike. And listen, we're way ahead of ourselves because we have no idea if they're going to play baseball. This
Oh, I
year
think
at
I
this
think
point.
they'll. I really
do.
believe they'll play baseball.
Well,
It
I
might
do
not be
too.
till June, but I think they'll play baseball.
Right, I do too. I don't know what kind of truncated season you're going to have, but here's the thing. When they do schedule, chances are you're probably going to have double headers in there. Where this is a blow to me for the Mets is it hurts their depth because now you've got, instead of having 6 guys and Walker as a plus that you can move in and out of the bullpen or into the rotation, now you've got to put him in the rotation. You have a Lugo who you can use for multiple innings, possibly in doubleheader situations, but chances are you may end up playing a doubleheader a week at this rate when they're trying to make up games. So to me, it hurts their depth. They have guys, Walker, Lockett, Oswalt, Erasmo Ramirez, a veteran who was in camp and looked pretty good. They have guys like that, but I don't know if you can say, hey, those are lock solid guys that you can really count on. Their depth, but how much of depth it begs to be seen at this point in time.
All right, so you think right now that it's Walker stepping in with Matz and that Lugo stays
Right.
in the pen?
Yes, I think that's the way they've always wanted to do it. I know that Lugo wants to start.
He really does badly. He wants to start.
He may view this as another opportunity in that sense, but to me, I think they have to make sure that the bullpen is solid, and that's going to be something they can rely on this year. And I think if you take Lugo out, you endanger that to put him in the rotation at this point in time. Here's the thing, and how the Syndergaard thing really hurts to me. Syndergaard was giving every indication that he was going to step in right behind DeGrom this year and be that guy. Last year, the Mets had DeGrom, and they basically, for the second half of the season, had a 1A in Zach Wheeler. They've lost Wheeler, and Syndergaard, I think they hoped would be that 1 and 1A with DeGrom this year. He's not there now. So Stroman, Matz, Walker, those guys have to step up now at this point in time. Porcello. Can they? We'll see. It's not a bad rotation. I'm not saying it's a bad rotation. It's still a pretty solid rotation, but I think it's a big blow for them.
It
really
is. I mean, Lugo is a guy who could step in and win a lot of games. He really could, but he is very valuable in the pen. What were you hearing about Betances?
I think he hasn't gotten to the point, or at least when we broke spring training, he wasn't at the point where he was really going all out. He was throwing. He was feeling pain free. The Achilles did not bother him at all, which was something I worried about. But he said that was of no concern whatsoever. He was just worried about getting his velocity back. That wasn't quite there. He was throwing 89, 90, maybe 91, thereabouts. And he's a guy that, can crank it up to 95, 96 or so. And I think that will come with him eventually, but right now it wasn't there. The extra time, that helps. Extra time helps a lot of people. It helps Michael Conforto, who had an oblique strain. It helps Cespedes. It helps a lot of guys with the Mets and probably other teams as well, too, Mike. But I think Betances will come along. If they can get a solid Betances, the Betances of old, and you get Diaz, turning himself around this season, along with Familia, who looked very good in spring training with the 30 pounds lost, and he was throwing the ball real well. You get those three at the end of the game, that's a good bullpen. So that will help if that comes around.
Eddie, what I haven't really paid attention to this. What is the like? Let's take the Mets as an example.
Yep.
What have the players been doing? Are they staying at the? Have they stayed in Florida? Have they gone home? What like if I went and polled a team, where are most teams right now? Are they in Florida and Arizona, or have the players gone home?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like with the Mets, a lot of guys have places in Port St. Lucie that they have second homes.
Right, because it's enough of the year they spend there now that's a good it's a good place to have a house.
And,
so yes,
Jacob deGrom is probably about somewhere between 2.5 hours away thereabouts. So he's probably home, but he could come to the complex if he went. Now the complexes are closed. I don't know if they can actually let them in and warm up there.
So they can't go there and work out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that they are in touch with them. They're all on a program. They're trying to keep on a throwing program. I'm sure deGrom is, because he's very fastidious about that, and I'm sure most of the other pitchers are too. But I can't tell you per se how many guys are in Florida and in Port St. Lucie, or whether they're home at this point in time. They're kind of scattered to the winds, I think, at this point.
And what are you thinking? I mean, I've always used the rule of thumb: 2 days for every week off they need to get ready. I mean, at this time of year, might even be a little more than that. So you got to figure they're going to need at least a week to 2 weeks to get ready, minimum, when they get ready to start. If they give them a start date. And they get their schedule together. Like if the president gives them an all clear and they say pick May 1st as their start date, you got to figure they need at least 2 weeks in Florida, right?
Yeah, no, I think at least 2 weeks. I know that the Toronto GM said that he was looking at a 4-week spring training, which to me is a lot, especially when you've missed.
It is a lot.
Going to miss a good chunk of the season.
Yeah, that's too much.
I don't know I don't know what kind of numbers they're looking at, whether it's 100, 110. Games in the season. I have no idea how they're going to work this all out. But I would think you need at the minimum 2 weeks to get back, because the most important thing in spring training is getting the pitchers back up to speed so that they can throw 100 pitches. Now, normally you need 2 innings, 3 innings, 4 innings. They may have to speed that up a little bit, and it depends exactly where they're going to be when they get back too. We probably don't know that, but over the course of those 2 weeks or so, and maybe it's a little bit more, they're going to have to go out and throw 3, 4, 5 innings or so each time. So it's a little difficult to gauge at this point in time, but you're going to need at least 2 weeks, I would think.
All right, Eddie, thanks.
Okay, Mike.
Stay safe. We'll see you. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Eddie C. on Syndergaard. So there you go. He thinks Lugo stays in the pen and Walker and Matz go into the rotation.